That's why it needs to be in this specific range.
So I probably shouldn't be facing the nozzle when this goes on.
You guys don't want to be here.
It's kind of like fog.
Yeah, it is fog.
I mean, it actually is fog. Yeah. Would we be able to take this technology and say, bring it out on a boat, out of the water, and then do the experiment out there?
Yeah, well, that's the hope, but we don't know exactly if that's going to work. So here we have a controlled condition. We are measuring the temperature. We choose what's the relative humidity that we want to work at. When we go to a boat, things will be different, and we know that. But the hope is it's not going to be different to the point that it's not going to work anymore. But hopefully, it's going to give us the results we want.
You know, I think an important misconception that's out there is that, you know, anybody who's doing research on this is dying to go out there and use the technique, right? And I think that's absolutely not true. I mean, I think these are techniques that we need to be very careful about whether we use, and that has to be decided as a global society, really. It's our job to make the data available so that that decision can be made in an informed manner.
The main objection to research in this area has come from within the climate community. Climate activists, even climate scientists, who are really worried that this idea could be taken advantage of by people who want to continue polluting. You know, we welcome people who think about this in a really practical way, because it's not been an easy thing to just sort of desensationalize and get people thinking about, you know, what the realities are and what's really at stake. Our vision from the beginning has been that within a decade, that we can ensure safety.
Oh, do you watch Channel 5 on YouTube? I never watched Channel 5 on YouTube. Do you want to? What is Channel 5 on YouTube?
We have a plan. We are not going to let the system get out of control. We're going to keep people safe. This area has had no funding from anywhere until a few years ago.
Did I miss it?
This area of solar climate intervention. And it's been very taboo. And it's still very
I'll check out Channel 5 on YouTube.
In terms of foundations and climate advocacy.
As soon as this episode is over, that's what I'm going to put on Channel 5 on
environmental
YouTube.
Groups who scientists might say, this is something you should be talking about and thinking about, but their organizations.
Suggestion. How's your day going?
And so even big environmental organizations, most of them they don't have a statement on this. They've never had a meeting on it.
People on both sides, you know, people who are very for and very against, you know, I think are all deluding themselves about how much we actually know about it today. I think the science is really missing. We don't understand the possible benefits or the possible risks. So I think the right thing to do is to do the science carefully, do the science in an open and transparent way, and that will enable decision makers to actually have the data that they need.
Posting some videos like.
Hearing all this, it made me wonder.
This is someone's.
If solar geoengineering is reserved for the worst case scenario, what is the best case scenario?
So the best possible world. Aggressive cuts in emissions,
from there to TikTok.
Aggressive development of carbon dioxide removal, so that if we go too far, we have a possibility of coming back. Research, development, and if necessary, use of solar geoengineering in a limited, temporary way to shave the peak of that horrible 30 or 40 or 50-year period of extreme climate impacts that we would be facing and aren't controllable in any other way.
Then I looked up and saw your comment.
I think people
Right? It was a cool
worried about
spider
the
flower
impact
woman
that we're
costume.
having on the planet because they think that humans can only negatively impact the planet. But I don't think that's true. I think we can find ways to live in concert with the world around us and change it for the better.
I didn't bring a hair tie. It's so fucking hard.
It is truly amazing that something like weather control, which was once the territory of scam artists and snake oil salesmen, could actually be at the crux of the debate about the long-term viability of human survival on Earth. We've gone from not knowing if the methods work at all to worrying they might work too well. Whether or not you agree with applying these new methods today, the fact is we're all here together on Spaceship Earth. And one day, she might just need a tune-up.
Fuck yes it does. She does need a fucking tune-up. We need to fix this bitch. We need to fix all the damage we've done. So this is a neat series I've been watching. Me too. I just started watching this series today here on Twitch. Today's Twitch session has been this series called Suppressed Science. There's an episode about reading our thought patterns and helping us. There's an episode about mushrooms, all kinds, not just psychedelic. There was an episode about something else that was super fucking awesome. And then this episode we just watched. I will remember Channel 5.
I think
I'm
5 years from now,
very
10
curious
years from now,
what
let's
each one
say
of these
you and
episodes
I,
are.
On our next interview, could put on a helmet that had a whole bunch of ultrasound transducers on it. And we had the ability to target the brain we wanted.
It was
so
about
okay, I want my attention to be better, I'd like to be less
how
anxious.
race is a social
Euphoria
construct,
doesn't sound bad,
a political construct,
and let's increase my
not
processing speed,
a
so we can do
reality.
this interview twice
The only reason there's borders, like if you walked from Europe to
Our
fucking
anatomy, we self-identify
the
most with our
west
brains.
edge of Europe to the
From
east edge of
Plato
Asia,
to the Matrix,
at what
there
point
seems
would you
to be a
differentiate the
general
lands?
Perception that even if a person were somehow reduced to just a brain in a vat, if that floating brain were somehow functioning normally, they would still have a sense of identity. But in the same way in which we self-identify with our brains, that floating brain were somehow functioning normally, they would still be a person with subjective experience and a sense of identity. But in the same way in which we self-identify with our brains, we also are the most wary and skeptical of things that can have permanent, large-scale impact on the ways in which our brains work. If your brain is you and you change your brain, are you still you? And even if you aren't, can you maybe be something that is different but better? As usual, it turns out that this is an area where some really amazing
You
research
missed the episode. I'd be happy to watch it again.
And
You
where
want to
the
see it?
ethical debates are intense.
How long you got? You got
Put your
45
thinking
minutes? I got
caps
45
on.
minutes.
It's time
I have
for
exactly
Suppressed
45 minutes before I'm going to end this stream and go do other shit right now. So normally I go from here to a game stream.
So when we say biohacking,
Today I'm going to go from here to a game stream, then break off early from the game stream and take someone to a doctor's appointment, and then
which kicked off with a lot
back
of
here to an
independent
IRL
researchers starting to do biology outside of establishment research organizations. Or we can talk about people who take a lot of supplements and then
this is
go
such
work out
a really cool show, Suppressed Science.
Biohacking is the latest name for the age-old endeavor to find ways to maximize our potential as humans. What is still unclear is that the various approaches to biohacking are actually effective or able to deliver on their promises. To further explore the commercial side of the biohacker movement, we paid a visit to the first franchised biohacking facility.
I grow my own
Upgrade
weed. I didn't grow it
Labs.
this year though.
This is Dave
But I have plenty
Asprey's
from my
Human
previous
Upgrade
grows.
Center. This is the world's first
I'm not a
biohacking
dealer, I'm just a
facility.
smoker.
But at Upgrade Labs, we use science and data and technology to upgrade your biology. We're using scientifically based equipment that you can get faster, smarter, recover more quickly, become more resilient, more quickly than you can at the gym right now. So but upgraded.
And autoflowers grow from seed to harvest within 90 days.
Here was really only available to the 1%. You had very, very wealthy people or science for research purposes or athletes. Top athletes have always had access to the best recovery.
The Upgrade Labs facility is in fact home to some of the most advanced, non-invasive therapeutic technologies which exist today. But what isn't totally clear is whether or not their claims are supported by hard science.
So this is our full body cryotherapy chamber. We use nitrogen gas, which is pumped out the back.
You might buy a card from someone and it's DMT instead of weed.
Super cool. There are various temperatures. The warmest would be 166 degrees below zero. The coldest is 220 below zero. And the reason people do this is to lower inflammation. It boosts your immunity. It can also burn fat and burn calories. It can help with visceral fat, which is the brown fat that's around your organs.
Upgrade Labs has no shortage of devices that promise to turn you into the best version of yourself.
So this is our red charger. This is using multiple
Do you know about my most recent Salvia experience?
To lower inflammation, again, boost immunity. In the case of this, we have several wavelengths, red, deep red, and infrared. There's 18,000 LEDs.
And the purpose and benefit is to.
I mean, I already had an understanding, but this gave me a perception.
The ATP, the adenosine triphosphate production.
All right,
lowering inflammation. We can also help with muscle soreness.
Okay, so I'll tell you all my experiences with Salvia. My first experience was in Phoenix, Arizona, at an indoor swap market, just like a random kiosk of things that were being sold. One of them had pipes, so I bought a pipe. At that pipe stand, they had this rolling square container with baggies of material in it called Salvia. I didn't know what the fuck it was. My friend Tony didn't know what the fuck it was. And we bought some of the cheap kind. It was like $5 for the bag, called green leaf lettuce salvia. It was the lowest grade there possibly could be. So we went into the indoor swap market smoking section where people could literally smoke cigarettes indoors. And this is like 20 years ago. We loaded this brand new pipe that's not used weed paraphernalia because weed was illegal. Paraphernalia was illegal. It's only been used right now for salvia. I figured it was safe for us to smoke in here. So I took a big old rip. He took a big old rip. I took a big old rip. He took a big old rip. I started to take a big old rip, and next thing you know, I was laughing. I was just hardcore hysterical laughing. He started hardcore hysterical laughing, and we could not control the laughter at all. We were like obnoxiously laughing, trying not to laugh, but laughing hard. We laughed so much we left the store and just cracked up for like 15 minutes in the fucking parking lot. First Salvia experience. Second Salvia experience. I was in Utah with my mother and her boyfriend, and we just went to this head shop and I just bought this new pipe. And lo and behold, I saw there was some salvia there. And instead of me trying the low grade, I decided to get the best. It was 240X, which is 240 times potent salvia. The instruction on the little vial said smoke one hit of 1/10 of a gram. I didn't do that. So I packed a whole bowl. I didn't read that. I ripped it up like you do weed, held it. Ripped it up like you do weed, held it, blew it out, ripped it up. And then I sat forward. So we get in the car, we're on the highway. My mother is in the passenger front seat, her boyfriend is driving. I'm in the back seat, seatbelted in. I take my hits. Then I sit forward and I hold on to both the seats like this and I say, something's not right. Something's not right. And then I sat back. When I sat back, what I witnessed was I look out the window and I saw the mountain out here. And I saw the sky. And I saw the city, mountain, jagged mountain, sky. And I thought how cool it looked. But as we were driving down the highway and it was passing my vision this way and going to nowhere, the salvia made it look like it started becoming a zipper, a piece of a zipper, half of a zipper. And I pointed to it to bring it to the attention of the driver and the passenger. And I said, hey, look, that mountain in the sky, it looks kind of like a zipper as we go by. And then my finger became attached as a part of the zipper. Then I looked to the left, and the mountain in the sky over here out that window started looking like a zipper too. So I pointed to it, and then my hand there became a part of that fucking zipper. And then me in the back seat of the car, I thought I was being literally like there was this existence closing off behind me, and my hands were a part of it. And where my arms right now are blocking my field of vision on the sides, I thought it was the zipper closing, and I was fighting the zipper from closing. And I couldn't stop this shit from zooming by back here, zooming by, because we're on the fucking highway in my goddamn car. And for some reason, I thought it was a goddamn zipper and I was being closed out of existence. And I was struggling my damnedest to not be zipped out. But what they saw was me trying to climb out a window in the back seat of the fucking car. So that was my second experience with salvia. My next experiences with salvia were just little sample experiences with some 20X and some 40X. Wasn't about to do that 240X again. And it was nothing big. It felt like if you could envision every molecule that makes your body, and then you can envision hands that were small enough to grab every one of those molecules at every point of your being and pull it like to the right. It's like holding it onto the left side, pulling it to the right, every part of you. And I felt this like hard pull to the right. So that didn't go further than that. Okay? So now, we're getting to my new experience now. This was just earlier this year. I got some 60x salvia. Have you ever seen the Salvia bond couple where those two people fucking did bond grips of salvia and tried to climb out, one dude climbed out the window and the girl couldn't help him and it was kind of funny and fucked up all at the same time? I decided to do some bond grips of salvia of some 60x.
Because that's the other thing we've learned about these networks. Your networks and my networks
Right.
overlap almost certainly, but not precisely
now,
the same. So cutting the exact
me and my buddy,
of your brain versus mine,
we are sitting there on my couch. I've got this couch, one here and one here. He's on this couch, I'm on this couch. We just got done making pizza. It's out of the oven, it's fresh, it's cut, it's ready to eat. Before we eat this pizza, we're gonna do some fucking salvia bond grips because we're smart. Well,
what are all the things that it takes to do what you and I
ripped the salvia.
Okay, so we have a visual system.
Big old bucket, cleared the bowl, held it, blew it out.
We're both.
And then I sat back with my arms on the back of the couch. I watched my friend get up and go into the kitchen to get himself a piece of pizza. When he got back, I was completely slumped over in my lap. Just totally flopped over in my lap, slumped. Okay, so what I saw happen was I went like this. Suddenly I felt that pull on every part of me going to the right. I tried to say something to him, and it felt like I was going like this, and I couldn't do it because this side of my face was inside of everything was pulling this way and shutting the fuck down. I don't know what the fuck was doing that, right? But as it started shutting down through my brain and got over halfway of it, suddenly there was this blackness. And a part of the blackness was I could see myself sitting there slumped in the couch. And half of what my perception was black. But it wasn't just black. If you can envision something,
however, requires invasive neurosurgery. So one of the questions of maybe
accordion, like an accordion, scrunching together like this, right? The black was not black, it was reality. It was this reality. It was from that exact moment of what was happening, and as the blackness accordion opened into this blackness and started scrunching this side of the reality down, what I saw was from that exact moment, turn back in time at every edge of this blackness that was opening up right here. At the very edge of this blackness, everything was like normal, and then it was like a fucking rift, split right here and started wrinkling everything in existence, right? So, I saw from the moment that this happened to 16.7 billion years ago when matter became matter in the cosmos, when light began, when cosmic expansion began. I saw all of everything from dinosaurs to the Inquisition to fucking cavemen to fucking... I saw everything spiral and twist and warp and scrunch into blackness. While that's occurring, while the whole of existence, 16.7 billion years of existence is scrunching away in my mind's perception, I'm hearing this tone, this really, really, really... Thank you, Luz, how are you? I'm hearing this really strange, like, deep tone that's kind of changing pitches a little bit. And it's kind of like the THXQ fucking sound you hear at the beginning of movies sound fucking test sometimes, but not quite. And behind that tone, there was this white appearing with the tone. The white became a room. There were people who were talking, who were really, really, really super excited, saying, "Oh, he's waking up, come back to us, come back to us. None of that was real, come back to us, he's back." And then, while that was happening, what was white and what I started seeing, if you could envision how I said I was slumped over. Now, if you can imagine somebody's face down and their eyes closed, and then somebody else comes up, and there's a body on the ground like this. And then somebody else comes over like this, and then lifts the head up like that. This eye is closed, this eye is open. Just barely, and I can kind of see. So, as the eyeball peeled open, that's what scrunched my current reality, this reality. This eyeball opening. As that eyeball opened and I could see the perception of this light, whitish colored room with these pillars that were decorative. There were three people. There were some masculine and feminine sounding voices. They were wearing these like blue, nondescript kind of bluish gray pants and these brownish gray shoes. Super excited. Then the hand that was holding my head up like this, and I saw fingers right here. I saw fucking fingers, okay? Set my head down. As soon as they set my head down and that eye closed, that reality that I was only peeking into, twisted into nothing, quick, snapped shut. And then from the moment that this whole cosmos began to the moment that I was on the couch, unaccordion, set back to normal, and I sat up on the couch and I said, what the fuck just happened? And then went into the bathroom.
Long-term benefits are still unclear.
As most things do in kind of the medical space, they start kind of like that lesion model. They start with oriented towards people with deficits. Can we use transcranial magnetic stimulation to help people with depression?
And thank you.
Help people with Parkinson's disease. I think that there are a lot of people who are early adopters or consider themselves biohackers, neurohackers, who are always looking
such a crazy experience
to see how they can not just.
So whatever it was, it's like I died, and none of this was real. This is all a part of some fucking hallucination.
Wellness space, and I think that
everything.
It's not
everything.
Again, focused ultrasound isn't really available in that way. The ability to do that is neat, and I personally think that if the system is created in a way that it has safety, so that the user can't hurt themselves.
Drones are my favorite experience in this world.
Access, so that we don't end up with some kind of societal hierarchy of access to what could be a really meaningful or profound experience. And people are educated about it in a way that they can make an informed decision and use it in a supported and educated way, then I think it has a lot of potential. But if any of those things falter, if there isn't a safety net such that I can find that, oh, if I push this button, I just
whatever it was, they were excited that I was no longer in this avatar.
Keep pushing this button and never ever leave. Oh wait, I haven't eaten in 3 days. Like that's
not. I'm getting ready to leave this avatar.
But perhaps the most interesting of all is new research being done to use these same techniques to achieve in minutes what disciplined mental practitioners have traditionally spent decades
welcoming me and excited.
So my name is Jay Sanguinetti. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Arizona and also the assistant director for the Center for Consciousness
Extra Existence.
I co-direct a lab called SEMA Lab, Sonication Enhanced Mindful Awareness Lab. And I co-direct that lab in collaboration with Shenjun Yang, who's a mindfulness meditation teacher. So this is a smaller transducer, and the way that these work is they're basically like a high-frequency speaker. So there's a little circuit, it's pulsing.
But some people have terrible experiences and envision fucking hell and shit.
It's acoustic energy.
How terrible would that be?
It causes a beam of sound into the brain. So you can imagine as I move this around.
You have been such a bad person that your final hallucination is that of fucking hell tormenting you for eternity.
Usually with meditation, to see the big health effects, meditation has all kinds of positive health effects.
Whenever somebody has
weeks,
NDE
you have to meditate for 30
and
minutes
claims that's what they saw, they've done some really terrible things in their lives.
You can get the person in the right little perspective shift that it really can have a big impact very quickly on them. And not only that, but we're starting to see, and this is very early, we haven't published this yet, so I'm a little bit hesitant to even talk about it, but we do see that it does help people a bit change their behavior. We are in the lab studying people who have what you could call mystical.
That's exactly what it is, and they will manifest that hell themselves.
But we have
will manifest your heaven. I'm manifesting a fucking excited, welcoming, happy place.
Ask really interesting
That's where I'm going to.
Like, do the networks in the
Woo! Party for me!
You're
all welcome to come.
Disintegrates. And so I think where these two
because
worlds,
if that trip was real, then all of you are manifestations of me.
And the material world, the physical world, the quantifiable mathematical world,
and the more things that go out, the deeper I am into this fucking matrix.
Meeting. And I'm not going to ever claim that science will explain spirituality or religion, because that's not a domain that it needs to get
The first thing I told my friend was that, you know, none of you are real. I can kill you, dude. And it wouldn't even matter because it's not even real. No matter what even happens, we're not even real. And then I came to the thought process, but if I kill you guys, what if I'm actually killing off neural pathways in the brain of this unconscious being, and in reality killing that being? So I need to let things live and grow and continue so that the consciousness exists.
To the brain, the body,
so whatever it is still there.
And we haven't figured that piece out.
And that's where I ended my conclusions.
We're pretty certain, 99.9% at least, I would say, that the brain has something to do with that experience. Where the goal is never to just enhance one part of the brain, So the goal would never be to just make your memory work better. And that's because your memory is part of a much
Because if
bigger
all of
system.
this is just inside of
So
the
you
mind of
can't just
something,
change memory
and
without
I
changing
start
some other part of
killing
the
off
brain.
segments of it,
And probably you can't change a part of the brain.
and all of their imaginations, and all of their part of the consciousness expansion that's happened in the
And so if
cosmos,
you don't take a
and
complex system,
breaking off all of those branches,
in terms of neuroenhancement,
then maybe its body
you're
functions would
likely
cease.
going to lead to some very unhelpful outcomes.
As we get closer and closer to something like brain-machine interfaces and the neural link, without there being evidence behind it, without really rigorous studies being done about how well it works and how often, I think the biggest ethical challenge for the neuroenhancement space is really just like leading people down a road of hope where there really just isn't hope right now. For companies to come along and say, oh yeah, this ginkgo plus vitamin D plus caffeine plus whatever plus butter in your coffee is going to make you better and smarter. There's no proof for any of this. Show me the proof, show me the evidence, and you can change my mind, but I haven't seen it.
There are a lot of ethical issues and pitfalls, and we worry about them as much as we think about all the positive effects that our science could have. We are talking about modulating a person's inner voice, for example. That's part of your sense of self. That can become very dangerous very quickly. You watch all these like Black Mirror episodes, and you think that's what's happening, but what's actually happening is more boring and more scary at the same time.
Oh, great.
So, this is where I think some education needs to happen, because how can you make a choice? Like, if you think they're eating your thigh, yes or no, you're not understanding that they're really trying to reach your dopamine system, which is your addiction system. They're trying to figure out how to engage. And so my hope is that science, with all of its deep and powerful ability to measure, quantify, and understand, starts understanding what it looks like to be a happy, fulfilled human being.
Really?
We're getting to. And that starts leading out into society. It starts influencing the way that technology is created,
And who really
the way
gives
that
a flying
businesses
fuck?
make devices, the way that the world governments make
Who
decisions
really cares?
about should we drill for oil or not. All these, the big questions of what we're doing in this world really get tied into a scientific model of human happiness.
People die.
Human meaning,
She's lived
human
way the
well-being.
fuck longer than anybody needs to.
I'll leave you with one last thing to
Way
consider.
the fuck longer than
As we find
anybody
ways to
needs to.
expand our minds, the very notion of where or what your mind is might start to change. We self-identify with our brains, but if we outsource
That's why my
our
TikTok
memory
about
or
it
our
said-
thinking power to an external device, is that
To those
device
of you in the
part of our
monarchy,
mind?
my
I'm not
condolences.
saying that in this
For those
case
of you who just
scientific
tweeted,
suppression is
come
good
join Watch Hanging
or
Chats
bad.
with the
I'm
Chill
just
Smoke
saying that
Sesh,
maybe
Brutal Demon.
we should get together and do some collective decision making about this one. And don't worry, there's a cap for that.
So that was only 20 minutes.
A backlash against science that you're going to unleash. And if there was any way in the world that I could stop you from doing this, I would do it. It was like, it was like the most hostile sort of a thing.
There's just something about tinkering with the basic
my dog
building
Bella?
blocks
This is
of
my
life
personal
that
dog.
seems to get people riled up. It is a topic on which everyone seems to have an opinion, from the average Joe to the Nobel Prize-winning scientists, from Congress to the Catholic Church, from you to the clone of you, which has been modified to have slightly different opinions. You're fine with that, right? The modern era of genetics has been marked by controversies, fears, and debates that dive all the way down to what it means to be human.
Her name
and
is
the
Bella.
complicated ethics involved when we gain the power to transform our own fundamental design. I'm Athena Brensberger. Welcome to Suppress Science.
Well, the most traditional sort of reason for apprehension against any kind of gene editing, whether that's GMO foods, GMO cows that don't have horns, or GMO humans, is this concept.
I've been
that
actually
we're
wondering
worried about.
when she was going to die.
People are really uncomfortable with the idea that we're using biotechnology.
I
to
just made
take
another
over
TikTok that
nature.
said maybe she
And
didn't die,
there's
maybe
this
she just shed her
factor.
skin.
that gets in the way of people really considering the possibilities of these technologies.
Gene editing is
I always liked the movie All Dogs Go to Heaven. Have you seen A Dog's Life, A Dog's Journey, and A Dog's Purpose?
Various methods with different levels
All
of
three of those movies will make you
sophistication have been
fucking cry.
developed over the last
Even
few
if you don't
centuries.
cry, those movies,
From hybridization
you're
of
like,
crops to direct physical cutting and pasting of DNA strands to using
you're a
special
psychopath if
designed
they don't make
enzymes
you
to make
tear
cells
up.
express or suppress the activity of certain genes. In recent years, the combined effect of advances in gene editing techniques and increased understanding of what specific genes do have created a new golden era for genetic exploration. But not everyone is happy about it.
So the genetic code describes the molecules of a cell is supposed to do. And already at the start of the 70s, people realized, oh, we can put in genes from different organisms into cells, and that allows us to make hybrid organisms, which already led to quite a big debate about should we be doing this? Could this be dangerous or risky? When people started thinking about genetic engineering, there was actually a call for a moratorium for a few years to just think through, should we be doing this? Since
they all make a dog die. Why do they do that?
It was terribly hard for the people involved to actually get all together at the conference center Asilomar in California and have a big meeting about how to go about it. And they didn't invite any ethicists.
Luz, have you seen those three movies that I said? So you guys,
some results. They wanted to decide what
the movie is about a dog dying over and 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 over again. The same dog, the same consciousness of the same dog, being reborn as a new fucking dog and dying, and being reborn as a new dog and dying, and being reborn as a new fucking dog and dying. Sometimes tragic death, sometimes abused, sometimes left out at the fucking scarf, chained to a fucking tree in the fucking hot of the fucking whatever.
Having that, I mean, this was a very forbidden conversation.
This dog, throughout all of its lives, one of its puppy lives, it was with this great family, and it loved the boy and it loved everybody.
He said that
and throughout the movie, occasionally, its soul got back into another dog that got itself a part of those people's lives.
Industry organization, bio, right? You know, I thought, oh,
stop it.
Going to really, be very.
That's how you wake it up fast. Literally stomp. It wakes up real fast.
The person on the other end of the phone said,
"No suffer."
This is the most reprehensible thing you could possibly do to bring up these issues. There's going to be a
such a good movie though
against science,
and the dog goes through the little boy's life with their family until that boy is a grown man. An old man with grandkids, and then the dog comes back into their lives.
Cloning a human being. I mean, it was not something.
So it's really cute. It's really sweet.
Big deal.
Since the 1990s, one of the most hotly debated areas of genetic research has been work involving stem
it's
cells,
such a sweet movie.
A type of cell prized
such
for
a
their
sad
ability
movie.
to differentiate
And you will
into any
fucking
other
cry
type
if
of
you're
cell in the body.
alive.
With a small nudge
Psychopaths
provided by the
aren't
right
alive.
environment, enzyme, or protein, a stem cell can be turned into a liver cell, a skin cell, or even a brain cell.
I like my coffee
Until
creamy
recently,
sugary.
harvesting stem cells had been the most ethically delicate part of the process, as it required donations of embryonic tissue, a process which became politically tied to the ongoing abortion debate in America.
Right?
In recent years,
So
advances
in that
allow
movie,
for non-embryonic
the
cells
dog
to
was
be
able to
reverted
prove it,
into
and the
stem cell
kid
state
who first
have
owned and raised
sidestepped
the dog,
these issues,
it learned
and
this
research
trick
has become
where
less
he'd throw the
controversial,
ball or the
although
frisbee
still
and
a
he'd
moral
get down on his
minefield
hands
for
and knees and the
scientists
dog
to
would run and jump off his
To
back
learn
and go
more,
and catch
I
it.
spoke with eminent
And because of
stem
that
cell
trick,
researcher, Dr.
each
Spencer
new dog
Tate.
that it was did that trick and proved to him that it was that dog.
Stem cell research. So in the beginning, when we first learned to culture and propagate human embryonic
It was
stem
all from the
cells,
dog's
there
perspective.
were restrictions on funding. I remember in early days of the human embryonic stem cell bans, labs used to literally have to tape colored tape around things
And
that
it
they
became all
could
kinds
use
of
for
dogs
stem
living all
cells
kinds of
and
lives.
things that could not
But
use
always
for stem
ended up
cells
back with his
because
family
it
somehow.
was very clear which money could be used and which money could not be used, and your experiments were really dictated by that.
Not always,
And that was limiting the
but
field.
at some point in its
So
life
I think
cycle
that
and
we've
its
come a really,
incarnations.
really long way. We've gone from, in 1998,
Maybe we'll have
just
a
figuring out how to get
crying
embryonic
movie
stem
marathon
cells
and
to
watch
grow
fucking
like
all
this,
those movies.
to really being at the point where we
Maybe
can
we'll do that this
recreate
afternoon.
small organelles or small mini organisms.
What about Turner and
in this,
Hooch?
Or we can think about
No, even
how
Hooch
we
gets
can
shot, but I don't
get
think Hooch
different
dies.
cell types that are fully functional to work in a dish that are coming from patients with specific types of diseases.
And you should be able to watch All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Mutations, so we can understand how those mutations work and test new drugs on these tissues that come from patients, such that we don't have to test it.
I mean, yes, it is
in
about a
patients
dog
themselves.
dying,
All of the restrictions
but
being
it's a
set
happy
up around
movie.
embryonic stem cell research really is a good example of necessity being the mother of invention, because there were so many restrictions around embryonic stem cell research. Researchers figured out how to make stem cells from non-embryonic cells, from simple skin cells, from blood cells, from all sorts of other types of cells. It was always thought that diabetes would actually be low-hanging fruit in the stem cell technology field. If we can figure out how to make insulin cells, then we can just put those insulin cells into patients, and then their diabetes will be cured. First, we have to learn how to culture and propagate stem cells. Check, 1998.
Check.
Okay?
Done.
Then we had to figure out how to get from being a stem cell back to being an insulin cell. Check, around 2008. There are a lot of people every year who have new onset type 1 diabetes. And so if we wanted to regenerate insulin cells for each one of those people individually, that's really, really labor intensive. So then it's like, okay, can we engineer a cell that their body won't recognize and won't reject?
We've been trying to modify and control genes ever since we first discovered them. From modifying plants and viruses to fully cloning animals, and most recently finding ways to directly edit DNA in virtually any way that we can imagine. Exactly how powerful and how controversial these methods are is something which has continued to evolve. But regardless of restrictions, genetic science has continued to march on. And the obvious question is, what comes next?
Genome editing has a lot of applications, and it's not just in humans. I mean, it's important to not forget that genome editing has amazing potential applications in agriculture, in farming, livestock. It can be used to radically enhance the yield of crops in places where there are famines. We might be able to use it to restore entire ecosystems, as coral is starting to be diminished in oceans around the world as the oceans are warming.
Any conversation about modern gene editing inevitably turns into a conversation about CRISPR-Cas9, the Nobel Prize-winning discovery made by Dr. Jennifer Doudna in 2012, which seems to have no limitations in terms of letting scientists modify or even engineer.
Right, some fucking some crazy cannibal dudes out there just
CRISPR-Cas9 is an artificially engineered version of
getting
a naturally occurring genome
homeless
editing system
prostitute
that bacteria
women's
use
children
as an immune defense,
and eating them in
which
some
can act
cannibal
as a pair
stew.
of
And he
genetic
had some
scissors
kind of
that
fucking
target
weird ass disease that suddenly he didn't have anymore once he started eating dead
remove
babies.
it, and then replace it with a new sequence of our own
Then
genes.
eventually how they figured out it's the
Despite its
adrenochrome that
tremendous
keeps you
promise,
young.
Research into practical applications is still
Which is
somewhat
why I have
rare.
children in my
But
basement.
here at UCLA, I had the chance to speak with Dr. Hossein Ameri, who is conducting one of the world's first CRISPR clinical trials, exploring how we might use CRISPR to cure a
My
specific
cellar
form
children
of
and addict
blindness.
kids.
Before sitting down for our interview, Dr. Ameri gave me a demonstration
You would
of the
infer
surprisingly simple
that
process of
if a
preparing
human being,
CRISPR-Cas9 solution
which is a
and
mammal,
adding it to a culture
secretes
of living
adrenochrome,
once mixed,
when
the CRISPR begins to immediately apply its effects, and the genetic
inducing a
structure
state of
these
fear,
cells will be permanently
then
altered according to the cutting
the same would be true
programmed into
for
specific attributes.
doing it to any mammal.
CRISPR-Cas9 is
A cat,
very
a dog, a
interesting.
mouse,
It's essentially a method
right?
to create a double-stranded part.
The same
to
should be
DNA.
true.
It is composed
And if
of
so,
a protein
you don't need to
called
do that to
Cas9.
children.
The RNA itself has two sections.
You don't need to get virgin
One part of it
adrenochrome,
is
human
called
virgin
guide
adrenochrome.
RNA.
You get
So
virgin
the
fucking dog
beauty of that is that
adrenochrome.
you can design
Scare the fucking
RNA
piss out of that dog, then
so
cut his
any
brain
part
open and
of
take the
DNA
juices.
that we want to target, we actually make a
It'd be a lot
copy of
easier.
the RNA based on that area. And
I mean, hell, there
then
could be
put the
6
pieces of
to
RNA together
13 puppies
with
in a litter.
Cas9, it makes it CRISPR-Cas9. So it cuts the DNA at exact location. Yeah, another interesting part about CRISPR-Cas9 that is also
So I don't think it could to a fish.
easy, very easy to perform.
I'm sure that its
Almost
brain
any lab
secretes
can do.
something because they
This
do
is
show
important
fear, just like
because,
salamanders and
we
lizards,
can
all of them show
now
fear. But
more
because
and more
humans are
we're going
mammals,
towards
that's why I was inferring to do it to
treating
mammals.
Almost, at least trying to treat almost everything.
Like, I have a
by
theory.
gene
Check this theory
modification.
out.
Because now the treatments are pharmacological, basically pharmacological treatments are.
You know how you hear about blood magic?
You make a drug
and rituals and sacrificing virgins? Because they need the virgin blood. Because that's what appeases the gods, right? So imagine this is a virgin child. Okay, this right here, my little Bella. She's not a virgin, she's had puppies.
Very basic. And another
But
thing is
imagine,
that it's,
and you go,
kind of the effect of that.
behold the virgin sacrifice!
Some conditions,
Right? And then after that, you pin it down on the thing, and you slit its throat, and you take its blood. That's how they would normally do it. But now instead, you have your virgin, and you say, behold the virgin sacrifice! And instead of killing it, you wait until it has its period, or it falls down and scrapes a knee, and that's the shedding of blood. You gotta have a little patience. You can still put anything you want on any virgin sacrifice, but as soon as that blood is spilled,
on a continuous basis for years. It is exactly this sort of application that Dr. Mary is studying in his lab.
as soon as it willingly, when it's a person somewhere, has sex with someone and loses its virginity, maybe.
Yeah, my lab is mainly focused
Yay!
on
Well, then you've got the virgin blood that's needed for the idea.
And, we use it both for inherited and acquired animal diseases. One form that we use it is called
No real sacrifice involved, but the bloodshed will happen. So then if you do that on every baby in the world that's born, like, behold the virgin sacrifice, I need $1 million. Behold the virgin sacrifice, I need a happy life. Behold the virgin sacrifice, every one of them, everybody, there'd be world peace. Because every one of those kids all the time would be recycling over new virgin sacrifices every second of every fucking day, appeasing all the gods.
Caused by a faulty gene, which leads to an overproduction of a specific protein in the eye. The idea is to use.
You know how much blood would go to the gods literally every single day that way, just because of every person who gets injured?
Resulting in normal protein production and normal vision.
And how many people are born every fucking minute?
To even imagine, what can be achieved by CRISPR-Cas9.
Extrapolating the data of how many people are born every fucking minute, how many people are scraping their knee every minute?
It could be possible that genome editing
I wonder if there's a study that does that. How many people are falling on their knees right now and scraping them to blood every minute?
Because we're still very much at the beginning.
Do you think we can get government funding to figure that out?
A lot more research and a lot more science to get us there. Now, for
maybe,
genome
right?
editing,
maybe.
Similarly, it's an ethical minefield. It's really an important idea that had totally taken the world by storm. And by around 2015, the CRISPR technology had become so sensationalized that meetings with leaders, scientific thinkers from around the world were starting to take place. The first one was in Washington, D.C., and then a number of other committees and meetings have happened since then with policymakers, advocates,
right?
People
like if you read the Holy Bible, God is like, okay, so to truly be forgiven of sin in the Holy Bible, you know what you need to do? You need to kill an unblemished fucking virgin goat at the altar of God, at the foot of God, in God's house. Then you need to disembowel that virgin goat, and you need to take its fatty tissues, cut all the fat off the meat, take all the fats out, and you got to take all the entrails, all the organs, and you got to put them in the fucking altar of God, which then you need to light with a holy anointing oil, which is made of marijuana and some flowers and some other fucking herbs. And then the person who's killing this animal, because they've got blood all over their hands, they need to be sad about what they've committed wrong, and they need to dab blood on their right earlobe and their right big toe. And only then can you be forgiven of sin. Only then.
We don't know.
If you don't do that, you are going to hell. Period. That's what God wants. That's how you get forgiven of sin.
There are rumors that there are more CRISPR babies, but we don't know.
Like the Bible, God demands blood sacrifice. He loves, it says that it's a sweet aroma, burn these things as a sweet aroma to God. The smell of blood and sacrifice and burning of flesh. That's a sweet aroma to God.
We don't know. So I actually don't know where Lulu and Nana are. These are...
If you raped my 12-year-old daughter and liked it and came to me with 3 heckles of silver, guess what? You could buy my daughter from me and continue raping her.
We don't really know how they will be used. We still haven't decided.
That's God's law.
But
that is God's law.
People who are trying to use them. And there are companies popping up in places that have very lax
If you have kids that are unruly and misbehave, you know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to go to your city council. You're supposed to be like, hey, listen, you guys, got this kid here. This fucking kid is driving me crazy. I can't do it. I can't fucking do it anymore. Like, oh, great. Take your kid out here in the middle of the town. We're gonna have everybody come out here with sticks and stones and hurl them at that kid until it's dead. Stone your unruly child to death. That's what God wants.
Really, really awful to me.
Most of the
You know what God wants? For every person with a disability to die. God doesn't love you with a disability. No, not at all. God doesn't give a fuck about you with a disability. In fact, you are scum of the earth. You are a leper. You are diseased and plagued. Same thing if you're a woman on your period.
And that means that now we have a change.
It's all saved anyways. I fucking publicize everything I fucking do.
Have a modified gamete, all the cells in the body are going to be open. And this is of course where people usually go a very strong line. They think that is
That's funny.
Scary, not when it comes to normal domestic animals and plants, but also of course especially for humans. So gene therapy, well,
That sounds like a good book idea. Sounds like a great book idea.
That maybe it goes badly for me if I take gene therapy, but it's not going to be.
I want them to make a Hollywood movie about the Anunnaki story of creation. I think that would be awesome.
And there are relatively few restrictions about what genetic codes you can order.
And I still don't understand why Las Vegas doesn't have a casino called the Tower of Babel.
A test tube in the mail containing some DNA coding for whatever I mailed over. They are
I remember that.
to be checking that I'm not ordering smallpox.
Little fucking
and
kid,
other
man.
scary
Terrible
things.
kid.
But,
Terrible
still,
kid.
there might be quite a lot of weird things I could be suggesting and get. So that makes it very tricky to think about how do we regulate this. It's not exactly like we can have a genetic
Fucking
police
terrible
at the
kid.
border saying you can't get in here. We checked your genes and they're the wrong genes. CRISPR
I love
is
you.
not stuff too, but you can use tools in dangerous ways. And
Right!
you can totally imagine
Right!
that you could use CRISPR, of course, to make it easier to
Especially
make
in Vegas.
or up and buy weapons.
Or in Nye County, Reno, where there's even more sin, where there's prostitution legal. We'd have a fucking brothel as a part of it. Yeah. Strip club here, brothel there, tattoo piercings in the basement, regular hotel casino up top,
Maybe it would be best if we didn't know how to do genetic engineering.
tiered floors, bringing you to God. As you get closer and closer to the top, the higher tiered
But
floors,
we're getting closer and closer to being
You
able
get
to identify genes that might make you grow taller. or
more
might
of this
increase
sense
your
of being
muscle
at
mass.
peace,
And so
serenity
once
kind
we
of
do that, and
rooms.
we have the technology to do it. The question is it right? Well, what happens when we apply this type of technology?
As you're near
in
the
that
floor,
way? We get
it's all
we get-
debauchery.
We get to make those decisions.
But as you ascend
Those
in the
decisions have to be
floors,
made for you before you're born. What if that's not what you want? Now, is it right to do those things
Right.
to make me an athlete? Or is it right to do those things to supplement your child that already has some
from your
sort of
virginity to
muscular
your house.
disorder and needs more muscle mass? Like, it's the same technology, we can apply it in different places. Is it right? I think that as technology advances,
Like, we've got
sometimes
something with this idea right here. You know this, don't you? With the Tower of Babel idea, we fucking have something. Yep. No, that's at the bottom. Because the debauchery is at the bottom. That's where all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll and craziness is. Gambling and prostitution.
Darwin's theory of evolution
I love you.
laid the
And the Tower of
foundation
Babel,
for
they were
all
trying to
modern
build a
biology.
tower to
A
God.
century later,
They were
they
trying to
discovered
attain the
genes
heavens.
and DNA
So as we go up,
completely different way of
we'll wind up,
understanding
the
ourselves
top floors
and
will be
the
like
concept of life in general.
tranquility and
while
peace,
I'm
fucking
serious,
yoga
we're
retreat.
definitely not in the business of
Will be
sensationalism
like
or overhyping
like
the potential
massage
scientific
parlors
discoveries.
and
There is a very real possibility.
of course there
that
could be the
we're
Sin City
standing at
side of fucking the
precipice
massage
an
parlor
era
where you
in
get
which
the
it will
old tug
no
job.
longer be evolution that determines what happens.
We
to
have
our
one of those
genes.
massage parlors down in
It
Jackson here.
will be us.
I got one once many years ago. I think I'm gonna go back since I'm single. I don't have a girlfriend and haven't been laid in over 7 months. Alright, so this stream is gonna be over. I'm gonna put all my dogs to their nap time and then go home and game for about an hour. and then take Nikki to her doctor's appointment, and then most likely come back here and stream IRL again until tonight's game stream. So today's afternoon game stream is going to be short because I've been commissioned for like a month now to come and do this. Right? Happy endings for all. It took the lady like 45 minutes to make me come. She was like, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, just I'm last a while. Why? What's up? You okay?" It was my first time doing that kind of thing. I was a little nervous. Infinite peace, love, and positivity directed at you and everyone else. Thank you for popping in, and I love the conversation. I literally like to talk about anything and fucking everything, and I wish more people would be here because I would talk to everybody about everything. If I had more people to speak with about things, the conversation can go. Go, 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 go. But if nothing's going on but me and my dogs and watching some shows and nobody's saying shit to me, nothing to think about, I try to put stuff on that'll make that happen, that'll make me automatically start fucking rambling about something so it's more interesting for whoever watches my videos later. But I really want Twitch to be my job. I want this to be my job. Not this here, what I'm doing right now. I want that. Like, just... If I had 100 subscribers regularly, you know what would happen? They don't. People are dumb as fuck. People are dumb. The world is full of stupid people. Hail REM for saying so. But Michael Stipe's an asshole. So. But Michael Jackson has good music and he raped kids. Same thing with R. Kelly. He had good music and he fucking peed on little girls. Marilyn Manson's fucking nothing but a genius musician, but he likes to hurt women in the bedroom. Only if they're willing, of course. Well, I'm putting it out there so it becomes a thing. Alright, now it's up to you people. You people who are watching this video, you need to share my channel with all of your friends. I've even started a new Discord server again. When I swore off Discord, I swore it off. Because my channel was growing exponentially. I was like at 69 average viewers a fucking night at the time. Before all the bullshit occurred. And I was this close to becoming partner. This close. Partner is big money. If I can make partner, 100 subscribers a month would change my world. 250 subscribers? 500 subscribers? 1,000 subscribers? You know what that would do for me? What 1,000 subscribers would do for me? I would come, smoke, and game with you all. I would. I would travel and Twitch stream that whole fucking way to come visit you. To smoke weed with you. To play games with you. How fun would that be? I think it would be great. I like to travel and meet people. Alright, bye everyone. Prepare for the game stream.